Welcome to Coach Bennett's podcast, where every run has a purpose, where kindness is hardcore, where this is about running, and this is not about running, where every starting line is a finish line in disguise, where rambling still gets you where you need to be, where pineapple will never ruin your pizza, and the sodas, adult and not adult kind, are always cold, and where there is room on the starting line for everybody. I'm Coach Bennett. Thank you for letting me be a part of your day. Let's get started. Welcome to Coach Bennett's podcast. That's right, it's happening, it's real, it's here. This is episode 0, the trailer episode, and you're with me. You're here at the starting line with me. The beginning, the genesis, the moment of creation. And let me start by saying thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for taking some of that sacred time that you've got and spending it with me. It really, really does mean the world to me. It's hard to me express. It's hard to me to express. It's hard to me. It's hard for me. There we go. I should probably edit that, but I'm not going to. The point of this podcast is not to be perfect. The point of this podcast is to help. That is the straight essence. That is the stone cold truth. That is the reason why I'm doing this. I want to help. I want to help you in an infinite variety of ways through the podcast. Now, again, that sounds pretty highfalutin, doesn't it? Like, I want to help through this podcast. It's a podcast, man. Chill out. My point is, I'm hoping that at the end of our time, at the end of every episode, after you've listened, there's something beneficial, whether that's learning about something new, learning how to do something a better way, whether it's laughing a little bit on a day that you needed to laugh. Maybe it's finding out about an event that interests you, sparks a passion inside you. Maybe it's finding out about some people that are doing some amazing things, and it invigorates you to go out and help others or support that cause. Maybe it's just taking some time out of your day to be entertained. That's it. In some way, help. Because the way I'm looking at it is, if I can help someone in some way, then by the time they leave that time with me, they're in a better position to potentially help themselves or help someone else. You keep handing batons off like that, we've got a pretty good thing going. So that is the real reason why I'm doing this. I have other reasons. I mean, I like to talk. I like to ramble. You know that. This is another opportunity to extend the conversations that we've all been having together. And let me just stress that word we. It's only 2 letters, but it's a big-ass word. I am really looking at this as a we proposition. It's me, and more importantly, you. It's me, and more importantly, all of you. I want this to be a conversation. I want this to be a back and forth. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you want me talking about, who you want me talking to, where you want me going, and shining a light on something that's cool, awesome, or really just needs some attention. I want this to be our podcast. Granted, it's called Coach Bennett's podcast. Now, part of that is because I spent, 15 minutes trying to come up with some cool names, and I just realized, I have other things to do, so we're just going to call it Coach Bennett's podcast. It's simple, it's straightforward, it makes sense. You know, it's not overly witty. We're like, wow, I wonder why they came up with that name. Nope, just Coach Bennett's podcast. But it really is a we podcast, okay? So I want you to take some ownership of this, and I want you to play a part in this. I want you to play a role in this. Some of that you can do. I know I'm kind of skipping ahead. I had in my mind an idea of how this was going to go, but if you've ever gone for a run with me, you know that sometimes we just take turns. You know, we're like going down a road, everything seems fine, like, oh, the highway's cool, there's no traffic, and then suddenly I'll make a right, and it's like, why are we taking this exit? And it's like, I just look at this, and there's like an aquifer or something like that, or I don't know, like one of those really cool rest stops that has like a giant Paul Bunyan statue and you just want to take a picture of it. You're not exactly sure why, but you take the picture and you're really happy you have it. That's kind of what we're doing right now. I'm kind of taking an exit a little bit early. Okay, that qualifies as the first ramble. That's kind of a big deal. You know, we're just going to check that off. Less than 5 minutes in, or somewhere around 5 minutes in, because I haven't edited this yet, we had our first ramble. My point is, there's a mailbag. I am so excited about the mailbag. Now, if you've listened to the other podcast that has started, which is badass and awesome and really gave me the confidence to do this, it's called Two Coach Bennett's Talking, and I do that with Tammy Bennett, who you know is really the other Coach Bennett, but not even the other Coach Bennett. It's the better Coach Bennett, also known as Show Up Society, at Show Up Society. We have a mailbag there. So in the show notes, there will be an address to that mailbag. I want you to take advantage of this. It's an opportunity, one, for you to write or type, I like typed letters too, to me, and it can be questions, it can be comments, and more importantly, it's a way for you to practice communicating in a different way. Okay, I know, oh my goodness, I sound like I'm going back to being a teacher, but it's true. Writing is awesome, which is a weird thing to be telling you right now as I'm making you listen to something that involves no writing, but I want it to involve writing. I want you to take advantage of that mailbag because I'm going to be answering questions every single podcast, and the questions that go to the front of the line are going to be the ones that show up in the mailbag. So take advantage of that address. Send me your questions. Send me your comments. Those are the ones I'm going to be focused on. It doesn't mean you can't send a question and all of those other avenues like Instagram and Twitter and Mastodon and all those. Yes, you can take advantage of reaching out to me there, but in full transparency, that mailbag, that's closest to my heart. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on. But take advantage of that because one of the parts of every single podcast I want to have is a Q&A with all of you. Okay? Which I guess should lead me to talking about what exactly is this podcast going to be every single time, because I do want some consistency. So let me give you an example. Okay? I'm recording this right now in Miami, Florida, and Miami, Florida is normally very, very sunny and humid, but since I'm arriving from Portland, where it's almost always raining, Miami has decided to rain on me. Okay? This is actually not what I'm trying to talk about, but I just want to complain a little bit. I literally travel all the way across the country. All I'm hearing about is Miami and the sunshine and the palm trees and how beautiful it is, and I wake up at 5 in the morning to the sound of a thunder jam, an epic, ear-splitting, sky-destroying thunder jam, followed by torrential rain. Now, I love thunderstorms. Don't get me wrong. I love them. We don't have them in Portland. For whatever reason, it rains nonstop, but Portland will not even give us the satisfaction of some lightning and thunder. It just drizzles. But I wake up. Now the thunder's gone. The lightning is gone. There's no more fun in the sky. And it's just drizzling. Are you kidding me? Again, this has nothing to do with actually what I want to talk about. I'm just giving you a little background. So, I'm in Miami. I get off the plane. It's very humid. Okay? This is an opportunity for me to talk to you about weather and running and making adjustments and making sure that you have the best run you can possibly have in the environment that you're in. Not the environment you want to be in, not the environment you wish you were in, the environment you're in. And yes, this is about running and this is not about running. How do you make the best of the situation that you're in? How do you stay true to the purpose and the spirit of what you're trying to do when you can't fully do what you wanted to do? So anyway, something like that, a coaching moment. I also want to highlight certain things that I think deserve to be highlighted. And sometimes it may be things, people, places, events that you believe should be highlighted. Because again, this is about we, not about me. And I just want to have fun. You know what I mean? Let's just have a good time. Come on, why so serious, right? I mean, let's have some fun. If nothing else, I want you to end saying that was a really good time. I have no idea what the hell the dude was talking about. I think I laughed a few times, but I have this general feeling that it was fun. I think that's kind of the minimum experience I want people to have, is maybe a little bit of confusion, not really sure why they're even listening to me, but having a good time, right? Now, again, like I said, that's the floor. That's not the penthouse. The penthouse is, it's like an epiphany. It's almost like rapture, like you're done listening to a Coach Bennett's podcast and you're not sure why you're weeping, and you're even more confused why the weeping just feels so good. Like I say, that would be the pinnacle. So if you're experiencing something like that, I want you to write a review, because I think the people need to know that there's the possibility, the potential, the chance, maybe even an opportunity to uncontrollably weep, experience some rapture, and have a good time, right? Because what sounds better than a rapturous weeping session, right? Wow, maybe I should have called the podcast that. A rapturous weeping session. I don't know. We can change it later if we want to. For now, it's Coach Bennett's podcast. And by the way, if you notice the art with Coach Bennett's podcast, that's Tammy. Tammy put that together. How cool is that? I love it. It came out really, really, really well. So shout out to you, Coach Tammy. Okay, I've got a little bit more audience participation that I'm going to ask for here. This is important. I really would love if you would subscribe. I really would love, if you're enjoying it, to leave a review. I really would love if you could share it. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I want as many people to be a part of this as possible. I want our community to be as big as it can possibly be. I think the more we have, the better we can be. And I think there's enough room on this starting line of ours for everybody. So I'm going to work really, really hard. I can commit to that. I can promise you I am going to pour out the best I've got into every single episode so you can get the most out of it, because I know, like I mentioned earlier, this time that you're giving to listen, it's sacred time. You do not have an infinite amount of time. You've got a very finite amount of time, and I am taking up some of it. I promise you I'm going to try to make it as worth your while as possible. So if you could share this, I would really appreciate it. Like I said, this party is going to be better the more people we got showing up. We don't have to worry about noise complaints. We don't have to worry about, the fire commissioner coming in and saying, look, the room says 200. We got no walls here on Coach Bennett's podcast. We can invite as many people as we want. Now, it's not going to be one of those weird, bizarre festivals that get out of control. This is like a good one. Everything's cool. The music is great. The water is cheap. The water's free, actually, at our festival. How about that? The water's free. The food is really delicious. Everyone's really cool. They clean up after themselves. There's no broken glass. You can go barefoot. Everything's going to be great at this festival. Now, if you're wondering, what are you talking about? Don't worry about it, because I'm wrapping things up. Thank you for tuning in to episode 0, the trailer episode of Coach Bennett's podcast. You'll probably notice there's already episode 1 waiting for you. So I'm hoping after this, you tune into episode 1, because it's a banger. It's a straight banger. Now, I haven't recorded it yet. I'm just assuming it's going to do that. So if I end up recording it and it's not, it's like mediocre, I'll come back and I'll edit this. But if it's still in, that means it's a straight banger. So thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for rating. Thank you for writing that letter to the mailbag and asking a question, giving me a comment, or a shout out for someone that you think needs to be called out. Because again, that's something we're going to do together. How cool is that? All right, so thank you so much. And until next time, cheers.